Dembele.
Masour Ousmane Dembélé, a player once mocked for injuries, doubted by critics, and forgotten by many, and yet, just days ago, within this very week, his name was called as the Ballon d'Or 2025 winner. But wait, is this real? Or just too good to be true? Because in the same year Mbappé was unstoppable, Haaland was smashing records, and Yamal was crowned the future of football. Somehow it was Dembélé who walked away with the golden ball. Was it redemption, or was someone robbed just to favor him? Did the system bend to create this fairy tale? Over the next few minutes, we'll break down the chaos. From his fragile beginnings to the season that shocked the planet, to why the world can't stop asking, did Ousmane Dembélé truly conquer football, or is this the most controversial Ballon d'Or of modern times? Imagine a boy dribbling with both feet on the dusty pitches of Évreux, France. No academy polish, no big club spotlight, just raw chaos and speed. That boy? Ousmane Dembele, and by 2025, against all odds, he would lift the Ballon d'Or. But how did a fragile, injury-prone winger transform into the best player in the world? Stay with me, because the journey is full of twists, setbacks, and rivals like Mbappé and Yamal threatening to steal the crown. Rennes, the discovery. At Rennes, Dembele's rise was meteoric. He joined the first team in 2015 and immediately left defenders, scrambling with his unpredictable dribbling and two-footed finishing. In his debut, League One season, he scored 12 goals in 26 matches, including a breathtaking hat-trick in the Derby Breton against Nantes. Fans could sense they were watching a future superstar, but no one realized how quickly Europe would come calling. He wasn't just a talent, he was a storm waiting to break. Rennes' sporting director at the time, Michael Silvestre, compared him to a young Cristiano Ronaldo. That kind of praise raised eyebrows across Europe. Scouts from Barcelona, Arsenal, and Bayern Munich came to watch, but it was Borussia Dortmund who made the decisive move. For just 15 million euros, they secured a jewel of French football. What happened next in Germany would confirm that this was no ordinary player. Borussia Dortmund, the breakout. When Dembélé landed in Dortmund in 2016, few expected him to adapt so fast, but in his very first season, he exploded. 6 goals, 13 assists, and moments of sheer brilliance. He didn't just dribble past players, he embarrassed them. His breakthrough came in the DFB Pokal semi-final against Bayern Munich, where he scored the winning goal. Days later, in the final, he opened the scoring and led Dortmund to their first major trophy in 5 years. He wasn't just a prospect anymore, he was a game changer. That season, he was voted Bundesliga Rookie of the Year, made the team of the season, and was suddenly ranked among Europe's hottest properties. Barcelona saw in him the perfect replacement for Neymar, who had just left for PSG. The stage was set for one of the biggest transfers in football history, but little did Dembélé know the next chapter of his story would test him like never before. Barcelona. The gamble. In August 2017, Barcelona signed Dembélé for a staggering 105 million euros plus add-ons, making him the joint second most expensive player in history. The pressure was immense, but in just his second match, disaster struck. A torn hamstring that kept him out for 4 months. Injuries became a recurring nightmare, and critics began to whisper that he was a flop. For years, Dembélé struggled for consistency, showing flashes of brilliance, but never stringing a full season together. Still, there were moments that reminded the world of his magic. A stunning solo goal against Tottenham in the Champions League, a Supercopa de España winner against Sevilla, and a La Liga season where he finished as the top assist provider in 2021/22. But the endless injuries and off-field distractions overshadowed his talent. By 2023, Barcelona had given up on him, and when PSG came calling, many thought it was the end of his story. Instead, it was the beginning of the most glorious chapter yet. PSG, the resurrection. When Ousmane Dembélé arrived at PSG in the summer of 2023, few believed he would change the destiny of the club. He was signed for 50 million euros, a bargain compared to his Barcelona transfer fee, but still a gamble. Many thought he was injury-prone, a talent wasted by inconsistency, but Paris offered him something he hadn't had in years: freedom. With Neymar gone and Mbappé under pressure to deliver Champions League glory, Dembélé had the stage. Nobody knew it yet, but the glass winger was about to shatter all doubts. In his first season, 2023/24, he slowly found his rhythm. He didn't dominate instantly, but by the end of the season he had collected 2 trophies, Ligue 1 and the Coupe de France. He scored in the French Cup final, showing glimpses of his old magic. Yet it was in Europe where he hinted at something greater. Against his former club Barcelona, he scored twice, across 2 legs in the Champions League, eliminating them and proving he had come full circle. But this was only the warm-up. The real storm was coming. The 2024/25 campaign became the stuff of legend. Dembele unleashed a version of himself the world had never seen. 33 goals, 15 assists, records broken at every level. He scored back-to-back hat-tricks in January, one in the Champions League and another in League One. The first PSG player in history to achieve that. He outpaced Manchester City, silenced Arsenal in London, and lifted PSG to the Champions League final. Paris had waited decades for this moment, and Dembele wasn't about to let it slip. But who would stand in their way? The final was against Inter Milan, a team feared for their iron defense. But on that night, Dembele played like a man possessed. He didn't just score, he created, destroyed, and dazzled. 2 assists, endless dribbles, and a 5-0 demolition that will be remembered forever. PSG were finally kings of Europe. For Dembele, it wasn't just about winning, it was about redemption. He had gone from a player mocked for injuries to the very heartbeat of a treble-winning side, and yet there was still another stage to conquer. The world took notice. Suddenly, debates raged. Was Dembele now the best player in the world? Mbappé still carried the aura of France's superstar? Haaland was scoring machine-like numbers? And teenage wonder Lamine Yamal was emerging in Barcelona. But Dembele had the one thing they didn't, a season of absolute domination across all competitions. He wasn't just winning matches, he was breaking defenses apart, delivering when it mattered most. Each week felt like another chapter in a fairy tale comeback, but was it enough to claim football's ultimate prize? The 2025 Ballon d'Or ceremony felt like a showdown of generations. Would the crown stay with Mbappé? Would Haaland's goals speak louder? Or would Yamal's rise steal the headlines? When the golden envelope was opened, the name was Ousmane Dembele. The crowd erupted. He had done the unthinkable, from being branded a flop to conquering football's highest honor. The moment was emotional, not just for him, but for every fan who had watched his struggles. And yet, as he lifted the golden ball, another question lingered. Could he defend it? His PSG journey didn't stop there. In August 2025, he scored in the UEFA Super Cup final and helped PSG beat Tottenham. Just weeks later, he opened the league one season with 2 goals against Toulouse. Even when an injury threatened to slow him down, the legacy had already been written. Ousmane Dembele had completed one of football's greatest comebacks. He wasn't just a star anymore. He was a symbol of resilience, of never giving up. And for PSG fans, he was more than a player. He was their miracle. That's the story of how Ousmane Dembele went from forgotten talent to Ballon d'Or king. Do you think he'll defend his crown in 2026, or will the next generation rise? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more stories of football's greatest journeys. Ousmane Dembele first broke into the French national team in 2016, bringing with him blistering pace, 2-footed dribbling, and the unpredictability that made him stand out at club level. He scored his first international goal in a friendly against England in 2017, and soon became part of Didier Deschamps' squad for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Though he wasn't a permanent starter, he played a key role in the group stage and added depth to an attack that went on to win the trophy. Being a World Cup champion at just 21 was a defining moment that underlined his potential on the international stage. Over the following years, injuries disrupted his consistency with Les Bleus, but whenever fit, Dembele was a dangerous weapon for France. His recall for Euro 2020 showed the faith Deschamps still had in his abilities, though another injury cut his tournament short. After joining PSG and rediscovering peak form, he carried that confidence back into international football, offering speed, creativity, and decisive assists in France's front line. By the time he lifted the Ballon d'Or in 2025, his national team career reflected both resilience and evolution. From a raw, unpredictable winger to a complete attacker capable of shaping games for his country.